Tak jak jsem řekla, vaše otázky budou mít prostor ve 12:30 na panelové diskuzi a teď už bych ráda pozvala prvního zahraničního hosta, kterým je architekt a designér Stania. Kai vystudoval architekturu a design, architekturu několik let učil, věnuje se průmyslovému a produktovému designu. Vidíte tady vedle mě dvě židle, které vznikly pro Ton. Asi víte, kdo je designérka, víte to? Ano, Lucie Koldová, designérka roku 2018, pileček Grand Design, ano. A s firmou Ton spolupracoval právě i náš další mluvčí, Kai Stania, ale řekne vám samozřejmě o celé řadě dalších zajímavých věcí, a nejenom o tom, jak vzniká nějaký zajímavý produkt, ale také jak ho dělat na opravdu velké škále. Takže přivítejme mezi námi našeho prvního zahraničního hosta z Vídně, Kai Stania.
Thank you for the invitation. My name is Kai Stania. I'm living in Vienna and working in Vienna, and I'm really happy to be here. It feels funny because my Czech relations become more and more dense, and it's an interesting evolution actually, because my grandmother was from Prague, and it's a long time ago, and I started to work for Ton 4 years ago, and then I started to work for RIN 2 years ago, and today I'm here, and it's really funny and it's nice. To say a few words about my education, I studied architecture at the Technical University in Vienna, and I studied design at the University of Applied Arts in Vienna as well. And I finished the studies. I worked for a few years in London with Ron Arad, and then I started to open my office in Vienna. And as well, I did about 12 years of teaching actually architecture in Vienna, but from the professional side I swapped to industrial design, and but I want to start actually with my home office, which is my office, and since I have built my office, it gave my office a real push, because people believe that I'm not only talking about industrial design, I live in design. It makes it more authentical, and okay, it works. I have to change the place better. So this is my office here, and that's actually the living room and sleeping and so on. And I decided to choose a space to live where it's nice to live and also to work. So where other people make holidays was for me the best decision actually to work. And whenever it's not far from Vienna, it's just 15 minutes by car. So I'll just go quickly through the slides. And yeah, I started actually after the education. I started to do a lot of office furniture for an Austrian company. Actually, I was doing that for 17 years. I received the job for 3 months, and at the end, it turned out to be 17 years. And this was my start during at least also my career as a teacher. And I was doing at the very beginning some office systems. At that time, it was not so usual to do really a system, and since the topic of of this conference is also revolution. I was thinking about this word, and actually for me it means more evolution, and actually in terms of design it does mean more evolution, and coming down to a project, it's more about innovation, and innovation drives the products, and I try to be innovative at least at one small part of a product. Being revolutionary with design is a very difficult thing on the market, because the market is never really prepared for revolution. If you work like professionally for a company, if you do a revolution, you will have to wait for 3-4 years till the people accept to buy the things that you designed. So the steps in design are always small, innovative steps that make a product more or less successful. Otherwise, if you are revolutionary, like from my part, as I see it, in this, let's say, normal design that is your environment, then it's a bit too far away from the market. So on this one, it was really new to have like one system, like one table, and you can choose for this table like 7 or 8 different kind of legs. And this was at that time was really not revolutionary, but it was really new to the market, that you can change that and you can apply that to lots of different spaces in the office. This was one design I did for a German company called Rolf Benz. What was interesting also in this task was that they asked me to do a chair for lots of different areas. So it should work in the home area, it should work in the office, it should work in event areas. And funny enough, the first job they received was the VIP area for Bayern München, the stadium. And I didn't really, I'm not so much a fan of football, but when I heard that only the VIP area was 3,500 chairs, I was really surprised. And that's actually what a designer really wants to see, like a never-ending row of chairs. It's just the VIP area. This is a product I did for an Italian company, and the initial idea was to do this chair just of 2 wooden pieces. And actually, this is the shell, which is normally 1 piece. That's nothing extraordinary. But also this and the connecting parts and that is just 1 piece. It's just actually made the same way like the shell. It's a shell actually, and you have cutouts, which enables it to just have 2 pieces of this chair. And it makes a very nice connecting, and the name is Woodstock, which is a stacking chair. It's a kind of relation to the name. Another topic that I do in my office is lighting design. Interesting about lighting design is that this field is a field where copying is really a virus, more or less. Like if you present something on a fair, on the next year, everybody will have it if you have an innovation. So on this lamp, for example, which is a circular lamp, you have LEDs, and for the first time, the LEDs, the light was going like horizontal in this plastic or mirror thing. So if the light goes in here, it goes up and down at the same way. So the nice thing about it is if you switch off the light, you have a see-through effect like through a glass. And 1 year after that, like all the other companies had this kind of system with square and round and everything like that. So a lot of things I do is in design. I do around living, and this is a rather normal sofa with some elements that could be changed. This is actually like my first design I did for a professional company, and it still sells. This is something I really enjoy about my job. I have done this design, I think, it's exactly 20 years ago, and the way I get paid as a designer is I get royalties. So I still get royalties for this chair because the company still has it in their portfolio. And if you imagine, like I have worked, let's say, a week on that chair, and getting money for that 20 years after that is still a very nice feeling, actually. The same thing about this chair. I did this chair for the same company a year later, and I'm showing this chair, which is, I would say, really, it's a conservative company, it's a conservative chair, but it had something at that time, 20 years ago, it had something very innovative. It did have a spring in here. So out of the how you say, out of the gesture, like when you sit at the table, when you have dinner, you want to sit upright. When you have finished your dinner, you want to be relaxed and you want to sit really relaxed. So the spring helps both situations perfectly. And at that time, none of these living chairs had this kind of thing. In the office, there was already this idea, but in the living, it was not. So this chair became, because the company was conservative, but it had this innovative idea, it became the bestseller for this company about 10 years. And now, I think every chair they do with the spring. So, this is rather like more, let's say, I always say grandmother's chair. There's nothing really innovative on that. It was just at that time, the rounded forms were quite new to the market. And sometimes, here this one is also a very straightforward chair, but also let's hope okay, it's back. So, next innovative thing was a kitchen I did for an Austrian company. And still I take, because I work in different fields of design, I really watch them closely. And for example, in office design, the tables that get up and down for sitting and standing while you work was something which was already standard, let's say. But I took this idea from the office to the kitchen. And this became sort of a new brand mark for this company, and because it really makes sense. If you say an average couple has a size difference of, let's say, 15 centimeters. So the kitchen is never built in the right height, because in the recent years, men tried to cook as well. It was not only the women who were cooking, and it changed a bit. Although I think the men do it always for show, not real cooking, but when it's the weekend and it's party, sometimes the men will cook, and then the height of the kitchen is never right. So I did this changing top which you could change from a table height, or let's say breakfast height, 74, to a bar height. So it did give a lot of different application, and this kitchen also became a very, very successful piece. I think a few months ago, Samsung ordered 25 of these kitchens for their managers in some place in Korea. And like, remember, if you consider the price, it's quite a very expensive thing, but still interesting. In the design field, like all these different functions, they always, I'm followed by these things. I'm always asked to do things that move, that change, and sort of it fits to this theme of the conference. Like all my products have a slight change. So this is rather normal architecture table for a home office, but it's the idea was to do it in really wood, so it fits the home office. And this was another idea when you have children, you start to think about design for children as well, naturally. And I figured out that the chairs that you have at the dinner for the kids, they are there, but they don't really fit to the table. And you don't always need them there, because sometimes in the evening when you have guests, you don't want them the thing there. So I thought of a folding children's chair, which could do that. And this chair can do this with just one single movement of this flap here. You just move it, and then within 2 seconds you can unfold and flap the chair. So this became actually a very successful. Doesn't work. This became very successful as a grandmother's or grandfather's chair, because they have the problem. They have their the kid for 2-3 hours a week, and they have this chair in the cabinet, and they can place it on the table. And then when the kid is not there for a week, it's again in the cabinet. So some slight observations get very important for a product. So this company, I'm sure you know, it's also a sponsor. I did some products. I just show them as well to complete the work. This was actually the first really upholstered chair for Tone, because before they only did just wooden chairs. And I tried to explore really the comfort of a wooden shell. And at the very beginning, when we made this chair and it was like sort of finished, they said, "Wow, this is going to be very expensive. I don't think people are going to buy it." We were waiting for the sales, and it became really successful because of the comfort of the chair. Once you sit in there, you feel the comfort, and that's let's say one of the most important topics of a chair. It has to be comfortable. Yeah, it has to be nice as well, but comfortable. So I did some other products for Tone, and it's pretty slow. This is let's say a very standard chair with some small design features like a rubber edge and things like that. I'm showing it because the numbers are so fantastic. They sell about 350,000 chairs a year of that, and the production price in China is about 13 euro. So it's really incredible what they are capable to do. This is another lamp that I did for an Austrian company, with some fine details. This, for example, is a product which is funny. I really tried this to make this product, to present this product to very big companies that do luggage. The idea of that trolley was to make a folding trolley that folds up to 3 centimeters, and it's still a hardcover trolley. So it should be the first hardcover trolley that can be folded down to 3 centimeters or 4. And the idea was to observe the lifetime, how a trolley can be, how it's living actually. And 99% of its life, it stays in the cabinet. And just 1% of its life, or even less, it's on the journey. So I thought actually the most important function is that it's not there, that it's gone. Yeah? But for some reason, the luggage industry was not ready for that idea. Even from Samsonite, I received a comment. They didn't even want to see an idea like that, because we have to sign some NDAs, and they said, well, actually, we are not really ready for innovative ideas. We are not working like that. So that was really actually depressing, but it works like that. I also do fashion accessories like pens for brands, wallets, and on that field, it's really hard to be innovative, because you might think fashion is very innovative and changing, but on these fashion accessories, people are very conservative. Like mostly men buy these pens, for example, and if they buy that, they want to keep it for a few years. They don't want to change every 3 months. So it's quite interesting that you might think fashion is in that case innovative and always changing, but it's not actually. So I'm going quicker through because I see my time is running out. For example, this is also an innovative idea that you have a watch and it's just 1 millimeter flat. It was done actually 10 years ago. Like now, things are standard like that. But the really innovative idea was that the work of the watch to make it that thin was in here. And so you could make this watch just 1 millimeter flat. But also the watch industry didn't want to have an innovation 10 years ago. Yeah? I was at Swatch. And this is something, one of my latest products. An interesting thing that the TV industry changed a lot. Because the TVs, if you remember, years ago they were this thick, and they became thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner till they are just 4 millimeters thick. And then you have just some small technical software part, which is a bit thicker, but in general the thing is 4 millimeter. And now the TV industry has a big problem because they lost let's say, the worth of its look. It's just like a picture on a wall. That you spend 10,000 euro and it doesn't look like it's 10,000 euro. So they always put the TV on just sort of a cabinet, and they really had a problem in selling that. And so I was approached by a company, a German company, and biggest producer of TV stands, and they said, can you do something which is like according to the new TVs? And I tried to do a product like that, which is this 4 millimeter LG TV screen and a 4 millimeter panel that just comes out the wall. And it's a so simple product that you might think, why anybody hasn't done that before? Well, it was not the case. Good for me. And 2-3 months later, LG approached this German company that they said, well, this is fantastic, we have to incorporate that idea into our TVs because we are not really selling well. So this is going to start right now, that they have a cooperation. So it went actually the other way around, which was an interesting thing. So, oh my God, 50 seconds, I don't know. I try to be really quick. So this is actually one of my most successful products. I did that 20 years ago actually, and it's still also selling. And I'm saying that because at that time it was like aluminium was the material for the cars, for space frames and all that. So it was the first office table done completely in aluminium. The top was in wood, but the structure was done in aluminium. So, beside lots of design prizes that I received, that is always good and it's selling really good, I was really excited when James Bond, the people of James Bond, choose my furniture for the MI6. And actually it was used in the recent 2 James Bond to furnish the MI6. So, and to come back to the first presentation that I did for this table to the company when I presented the design, I said it had to be something that James Bond would use in the office. For me, it's a design that is looking for future, it's technology, it's all that, it's a symbol, and for me the best would be in James Bond office. And actually, 15 years later, like after saying that, they choose it for the film, and actually they choose it twice already. So this is a recent design I did for a Swiss company, also quite an innovative, like small stool that changes also the height. And also, last but not least, some designs I did for RIM, which is the sponsor. And this chair, for example, is shown at one of these modules. And it's within the nest. I quite like this idea of presenting the chair, which is a rounded form, which is like evolves from an egg to a bird. And you see some of these. And there's a series of products I did according around this idea. And these products, they are starting to sell. It's sort of brand new, and also a quite conservative sofa. But the idea behind was to do a very comfortable sofa on one hand, but also it should be really a really huge system that you can apply in all different areas in the office. And then with some also reminiscence of this old net that you have on old tonnette chairs and tone chairs, for example. And this will be the next the product that will come out in October, and there we will have some innovative things like loudspeakers, and you can put your mobile there, and a lot of technical features. So, thanks a lot. This was my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it.